Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be going over Sun in the 6th house. So this video is for you if you have this particular placement. If you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. This video is also going to apply to people who have Leo occupying their 6th house as well. So the Sun in our natal charts deals with our ego, it's our pride. So it's going to be the area where you guys get a sense of pride, whatever house you guys have in here. It's also going to be your identity, your sense of self. Sometimes with the Sun, they do say it's who we think we are. Other times with the Sun, I've heard that it is who we are aspiring to be. The Sun can also be the father as well. So the 6th house in our natal charts deals with health, healing, and being of service. It is the house of work, the house of daily acquaintances, daily tasks, and routines as well. So when you guys have the Sun in the 6th house, for you guys, a lot of your identity and your ego is going to be formed through your work and perhaps helping people, healing people, being of service in one way, shape, or form. Now, with the Sun in the 6th house, a lot of your pride can come from this area as well. You guys might be the types of people who are really, really prideful about what you guys do for work. You guys might feel very, very accomplished, or you guys might be looking to become super, super accomplished so you guys can get that praise. That's the whole thing with this energy, especially if you look at it from the lens of Leo in the 6th house. Sun is ruled by Leo. This energy really looks for praise in their work. You guys can kind of look at that Leo energy as the energy that is looking for the applause from the crowd. In your guys' case, it could be from your managers. It could even be from the father, actually. You guys might be looking unconsciously for the praise for your work and your work efforts from the father. Now, since we're on the topic of the father as well, the Sun being in the 6th house, perhaps you guys learned a lot about work through your father. Maybe he was a very, very hardworking person, or whoever that dominant masculine role was in your life. Maybe this is the person who was very, very organized or very much focused on work. Maybe this individual really instilled a lot of these traits within you guys, a lot of the organizational traits, the hard work traits. Maybe this individual put a lot of value into work overall. Maybe they were working all the time. For example, maybe you guys didn't get the attention, let's say, from the father because they were working all the time. So maybe you guys are trying to understand, let's say, the father through you guys working. Now, all of this is going to be contingent upon the aspects, what else is going on in your natal chart as well, and the sign in here. But that's the overall idea. The father could have been very much focused on work, and you guys could have seen that work is really important, and maybe this is the way that you guys got the attention from the father. Or sometimes it could go into the opposite direction because it is a plane of duality. So maybe he was very, very hardworking, or maybe he didn't work at all, and then because he wasn't working, maybe through this action you guys saw the importance of work, and then you guys started working. Maybe you guys started working at a young age. Maybe you guys saw that money was very much connected to freedom with this energy as well. So for you guys, work is the name of the game. It's going to be probably very, very hard or difficult for you guys to take time off because you guys always have to be doing something where you guys are feeling like a task is getting accomplished, even if it isn't literal work and you guys are going, let's say, to the office or something of the sort. It could be something around the house. Maybe you guys find work to do around the house. The thing is, the 6th house does also deal with perfectionism. So I've noticed with this energy a lot of the time, they're definitely the types of people who are as close to perfectionism as possible, especially when it comes to work. They tend to be super, super competent. And this usually, again, if we were to look at the upbringing, perhaps something takes place in the early childhood where you guys had to be competent, or you guys learned to be competent, or you guys learn that you guys get your attention, especially because it's in the Sun, from being competent. Maybe you guys were like very, very good in school. Maybe you guys were very much like obsessed with school. Maybe you guys really, really liked going to school and just like learning and being in that type of environment. So there's something here that takes place. Usually everything does originate from the original two caregivers. I am not a psychologist. That is always my disclaimer in these videos. But there's something here that takes place probably in the early childhood where you guys got that praise or that applause, or just like the recognition from your peers, or just like school, or whether it was a teacher or just like the family. It could have really been any of these individuals. You guys got the praise from them and it kind of fueled your ego, and you guys kind of started to want to become even better. Maybe you guys were like the top student in your class and you guys got the attention this way as well. That's kind of like the whole thing here with the Sun. It is what you guys are creating your ego and your identity through. It is what you guys take pride in, and it's also going to be where you guys are looking for that applause throughout your life. So that's that 6th house energy. It could be work, yes, but it could also be health, healing, and being of service. Even before I started this video, something that I was thinking about was with the 6th house, it's always important to not to fall into a doormat energy where it's like you're helping everyone around you. You are constantly focused on everyone around you and you guys aren't maybe getting any help in return. Like it could be this as well, where it's like you guys are always being of service, or you guys are always helping people around you. So it's really all about balance at the end of the day, especially with all of these energies in our natal chart. What we really want to do is just see what's going on. Is the energy in the light side or the shadow side, and how can we balance that energy within to ultimately benefit ourselves so we are in that full self-alignment. So health, healing, and being of service is definitely going to be important to you guys. You guys might find yourselves in these roles. Obviously depends on the rest of your natal charts, yes, but you guys might find yourselves in these roles where you guys are helping people in one way, shape, or form. Maybe it's literally health healing and being of service in the sense where it's like maybe you guys become a doctor, or maybe you guys become a nurse or something of the sort, where it's like in the literal sense. Or it could be something like on the weekends, maybe you guys do community service of some sort, where you guys are helping the community in one way, shape, or form. Maybe it's a soup kitchen, maybe you guys go around helping people pick up garbage in the community, something of the sort, where you guys kind of feel like you are giving back. Obviously, it's going to be on a range, and once again depends on the rest of the natal charts, but it's this: you guys are creating a lot of your ego and your identity through helping people and being of service. But keep in mind, you guys are still going to be looking for that applause and that praise, whether it's conscious or more often than not it is subconscious. You guys are looking to basically receive recognition for whatever it is you guys are doing with that sun in the 6th house. Now, one more thing that I also want to mention in this video is the 6th house can sometimes deal with criticism as well. So you guys might be very, very critical of yourselves. You guys might have a hard time receiving criticism, maybe once again because it is the father or that dominant masculine role in your life. If the roles were reversed, maybe it was the mother, but you guys would look at whoever was the dominant masculine role in your life. Maybe this person was very, very stern or like very, very critical of your actions. So that's kind of like what drives the 6th house to become a perfectionist or strive toward perfection, because unconsciously what's happening here is the energy kind of feels like if they become perfect or as close to perfect, then they kind of create this like safety energy around them where nobody can criticize them. Unfortunately, in this world, everyone's going to have their own opinion, and you're not going to be able to please everybody and to be at everyone's perceived level of perfection. So sometimes you guys might put this huge pressure on you guys to constantly be perfect to avoid that criticism. But the thing is, sometimes criticism really, really does help, because it's like the criticism sometimes can show you your blind spots. Yes, sometimes people might have their own opinion that don't necessarily pertain to you, but sometimes the criticism can show you guys things that maybe you guys haven't noticed, let's say about yourselves, or let's say it's about your work, or all of these things. So that's another thing that can take place with this energy. And in turn, you guys might be very, very critical as well, because it's like you guys might kind of feel like you've achieved a certain level of perfection throughout your lives. Then it's like you guys kind of hold other people up to this high standard as well. You guys might not understand people who are like sloppy or just like, you know, like late all the time, for example, or just like not perfect in one way, shape, or form. Like let's say it's at a job and they forget something. Like you guys might not understand how people can be like this with this energy with the sun in the 6th house. But it's like a lot of that is rooted from, once again, you guys having to be perfect and holding yourselves up to this super high standard, and then you guys hold other people up to that super high standard as well. What I will say for this energy is you guys are gonna be super great and like investigative types of roles, or like roles that deal with attention to detail, or like anything that does require that accuracy. Like you guys are gonna be so good at all of these roles, because once again, this energy really is the closest to perfection compared to the rest of the energies overall in astrology. So that's going to be one huge plus. And I can even see this energy getting into like eventually maybe management roles, and like again having very high expectations for your team. And maybe you guys do work with the team, and your team is going to be, let's say, one of the best ones, for example, because you guys do teach them how to get as close to that level of perfection as possible. And I'm sure that if there's anyone that is sloppy or not having attention to detail or something of the sort where you guys don't approve, you guys will probably drop those people or find a way to get rid of them as employees. Let's say you guys are in a management role. Another thing that I also want to mention for this energy as well is the whole concept of routine for you guys. So what I've noticed with 6th house energy overall is a lot of the time they do get into a very strict routine, and they're always doing the same thing all the time. And like that's great, because again, you guys can be efficient, you guys have your goals, and there's a reason for this. Always there is a method to the madness, absolutely. But sometimes when you guys are too much in a routine, and this is really for anybody, but especially 6th house energy, when you guys are too much in a routine, you kind of don't allow new energies to come in, or like new people or new experiences to come in, because you're constantly doing the same thing. You're in that same frequency. So if you guys can sometimes start to slowly switch up the routine, instead of doing Pilates every Monday, maybe switch it up and do it on a Tuesday and see what happens. Maybe you meet a new person and you make a new friend, and then you make a new connection. Like absolutely could be this. Usually with the 6th house, it will have to be baby steps, because if it's like your whole routine gets disrupted all of a sudden, you guys probably won't know how to function, because again, it's the sun. A lot of your identity is created through having this routine. Now, what I've noticed overall also with 6th house energy and like their rigidity in terms of their routine and having to have the same routine all the time, sometimes for them this comes from a sense of comfort, or just like even like a fear of abandonment, for example. It could be this. Obviously it might not apply to everybody, but sometimes this is the reason, because it does sometimes deal with that solar plexus chakra in this way. So sometimes you guys are like stuck in your routine, or you just want to have a routine because it gives you a sense of control. Even I've noticed also with this energy as well, but it's like if you're trying to control, then you guys have to explore and be like, well, why am I always trying to control? And then in turn that means that there was at some point in your life where you guys didn't feel like you were in control. So this is kind of how we go through healing and through like the layers of just like the energies within ourselves, because at the end of the day we always want to release those lower vibrational energies and energies that may no longer be serving us, especially if it's like constantly doing the same thing all the time. You kind of get into this like robotic state. And like I mentioned, new energies can come in and even new experiences and all of these wonderful things. But absolutely, in terms of getting the goal done, having a routine is really important because you guys have that discipline to you and you guys have that perseverance and you guys have that eyes on the prize energy, where it's like you guys are focused on the end goal is really what that is when you have Sun in the 6th house. But you guys might notice, because it does deal with that solar plexus chakra, if your routine is disrupted in any way, shape, or form, you guys might get a little bit of anxiety, or you guys might even notice that, like, let's say a vacation is coming up, you guys might have resistance to go on the vacation because you don't want to get out of your routine, for example. But it's like sometimes going away and taking a break could be very, very good for you guys, and then eventually coming back, you guys have fresh eyes, and then maybe you switch things up because of this. You guys have shifted energies and vibrations in this way. And kind of bouncing off of that same idea, I've noticed with the 6th house, sometimes they don't want to try new things because maybe they've perfected something, and like trying something new would mean that they would start at 0. And then in this particular case, they wouldn't be someone who is, let's say, the most knowledgeable in that area or like the closest to perfection in that area. I've noticed with 6th house energy, the older that they get, just in general with humans, the older humans get, like the more creatures of habit we are, and we seek comfort and just like stability and all these types of things. So it's like, it's usually harder for people to change the older that they get. So that's something that takes place with the 6th house energy as well, is like the older that they get, they probably become very well known in their craft, or they perfected their craft if they focus on something, let's say, their whole life. And then because they're perfect in that particular area, you guys are getting that applause, you're getting the recognition that you guys are seeking, because the Sun, once again, is the ego is seeking this. And the thing is, you guys might not want to start something new, especially again, the older that you get. Not necessarily just the older that you get, although usually it is this, but it could just be like the better you get at something, or the more that you guys perfect your craft, the more you guys invest your time into something and you guys have perfected that thing, you guys might not want to start something new because unconsciously you're going to be starting at 0 and you guys won't know that thing, and it's going to open up this whole Pandora's box of like, again, room for criticism, not being perfect, all of the things that the 6th house fears. So the thing is, if you guys have this energy within your natal chart, maybe just like testing this within yourself to start something new on the side, whether it's a new hobby or like a new sport or some sort of new form of entertainment for you guys, or maybe something that you guys are learning for the first time, because being in that uncomfortable energy is always good, you know, because we're always growing at the end of the day, and like when we do things outside of our comfort zone, it's always going to help us grow. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here on Sun in the 6th house. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.